Hi, this is Carl with another SOP video for managed service providers. Today I have a very special topic. I want to talk about clarity with regard to sales and negotiations and actually lots of stuff in your life. This video is different in that I have an actual handout for you, so follow the link, go to sopforsmb.com, and you'll get a handout on clarity. Now, what do we mean by clarity? Well, let me give you an example. Recently, I had 3 different kinds of conversations regarding a nonprofit and volunteerism. In one case, I'm working with a nonprofit that is absolutely brand new and they're not sure exactly everything they need. In another case, I'm working with a nonprofit that's very well established and I have worked with them before. So it's an ongoing relationship. And in the third case, it's a nonprofit where I am the executive director and I'm asking people for things. So let me walk through these. In all cases, there is a need for clarity. So let's start with the absolutely brand new nonprofit. Had a conversation with a friend of mine. He is trying to help some folks out in Ukraine. And when I ask, what do you need? Tell me what I can do for you, what my community can do for you, so forth. And he said, we need everything. We need clothes, we need food, we need transportation, we need diapers, we need communication skills, we need computer equipment, right? We need everything in the universe. Okay, that's not helpful. The problem is that there's no clarity. And yes, I know that they need all those things, but when you talk to one person, you need to have clarity about what exactly am I going to ask this one person. For the older nonprofit that I have worked with before, I've worked with them in 2 different countries, and they are having a new person come on who's going to be in charge of IT. Great. So I'm talking to my connection there, and he said, all right, well, he'll be on board in June and I will have him get in touch with you. And I said, wait, don't have him get in touch with me right away. Have him get settled into his job, figure out what he does or what he doesn't do, what the borders of his authority are, what his needs are in the US and in these other countries. And then when he has clarity on what he needs, then have him get in touch with me. Because I will do whatever you need. I will help you in any way that I can, but you have to be specific enough in the ask so that I can be clear about whether I can give exactly what you need. The third example is the association that I run, the National Society of IT Service Providers. And I was talking to somebody who was saying, we want to help. You need to tell us what we can do for you as an organization. So it's 2 organizations need to work together. And I said, well, of course, we need help with everything. The easiest thing is money. You know, hey, you got some extra money, we will take it. But let me go back and put together a specific list of things where I think the 2 of us can work together, where we mesh well, and you can help us advance our needs while we help you fulfill something that you have a need for as well. The reason that I go through those examples is that no matter which way you look at it, from either side of the equation, the asker or the giver, there has to be clarity. There has to be clarity on what you're asking for, and there has to be clarity on what you're willing to give. This is also useful in the sales process. So before you tune out and say, oh, he's not talking about my company, I am talking about your company. When you go into a sales discussion or a negotiation, that is a discussion about specifics. It's fine to say, hey, we have an IT company and we can help you. You don't even know what my problem is. Well, doesn't matter, I can help you. But what if it's something that's outside your area of expertise? Trust me, I can help you. That's not a very good sales pitch. A better sales pitch is to actually be clear about exactly what you're offering. You can have a conversation about all the other stuff, but start by saying, we can do this. It is far more powerful to go out with a solution that is clear and precise, and then add things onto that. When you think about it from the client's perspective, it's rare for people to say, I need generic computer-related technology support. There are people who do that, but it generally means that they have lost a technician, or they have lost a relationship with another IT service provider, and now they need a new one. Usually the way these things start is that somebody says, I need a storage solution that is expandable. I need security. I need to be able to move my data from this old machine into the cloud and secure. I have a very specific need. The more clarity the client, the prospect has with regard to their problem, the easier it is for them to find somebody who can fix their problem. Yes, if you're watching this video, you can probably fix their problem. But if you go to market saying, we take your storage and put it into a secure cloud so you never have to worry about downtime again, well, now you've got an alignment with what they need and what you offer. But it takes clarity. How do you get clarity? Well, that's why I have put together a little worksheet. It's not too complicated, but basically, you have to stop talking in broad generalizations and start talking about specifics. What words most clearly define exactly what you are offering or asking? You know, there's an offer side and an asking side. And the beautiful thing is, if you can get those words to align, both sides will see that you are actually interested in talking about the same thing. You know, very often people in sales, people who own companies and want to sell to people, will want to speak in the most wide general terms possible. And that's not very useful. What the seller often says is, I want to sell to everybody. I want the entire world to buy my services. Well, again, that's not very useful. If you say, I want lawyers who use this specific software to use our services to move it into the cloud, boom, that's a very clear, precise ask. And when you find clients who have exactly that definition, you will be the answer to their problem. Ultimately, when you think about Google or any search engine, the goal of the search engine is not to give you as many hits as possible. The goal of the search engine is to help you make the exact right connection. So that's why a lot of the stuff that people do with SEO is a waste of time, because they're trying to get as many hits as possible, or they're trying to own some one key phrase or whatever. But what clients need is an answer to a specific problem right now. Think about your house. Let's just say that your water heater broke, and it happens to be something that is particularly new technology and it shouldn't have broken. But there might be some issues with your system. Do you call a generic plumber? Do you call somebody who's an energy specialist? Who exactly do you want to fix that problem? Well, I can tell you one thing. You're probably not going to just call the first plumber that shows up on a list on Google or Yelp or whatever. You're going to look for somebody who says, if you're having a problem with your newer water heater, we know what's wrong and we can help you find a better, higher tech solution. Zoom, right? When you focus in like that with clarity, now that person may have another ad that somebody else is going to find that says, if you have an older water heater and you're willing to invest in newer technology, we have the solution for you. Right? They can have different kinds of ads, each of which solves a very specific problem. But the ability to get that direct hit goes up dramatically when they have clarity on the solution they are offering. So if you're promoting your business, you should not say, we do everything for everybody. Well, that just means you don't do anything for anybody. But if you can point to a specific solution, even if somebody just says, well, I'm thinking about replacing my water heater, I've got this older thing, I might want to go to some newer stuff. If they see your ad, it's going to be close enough that they're like, that person is the one to solve my problems. If you have an ad that says, I'm a plumber and we fix everything remotely related to anything that has anything to do with water, please call us today. That's basically a useless ad, and you're not going to get any calls. So in IT, I recommend that you have a very clear solution that you go to market with. And more importantly, when you're in a specific sales call with a specific client, you need to zoom in on their actual problem as quickly as possible. Which is why I recommend that you do something that I call the roadmap process. So I've other places you can Google Polishuk roadmap questionnaire. The client roadmap process is literally, it's a matter of asking questions and finding out more and more and more about the client. What is their industry? What are the challenges of the industry? What's going on, right? All of this knowledge about the industry allows you to develop very targeted, specific things. But for one client, it starts with listening to them for about an hour, probing again and again and again. Tell me about your business. What are the challenges? What's the new technology coming down the road? What kind of software updates are necessary? How much of this is in the cloud? How much is going to be in the cloud next year? Listen, 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 listen. And then what's going to come out of that is clarity about the actual problem they have. Because they may not know what their actual problem is in technology terms. You've seen this where you got a system that's a little slow. Well, is that because of the memory? Is it because of the hard disk space? Is it because of the speed of the processor, the speed of the hard drives, right? The speed of the memory, right? What is it? You have to do some analysis in order to narrow it down. Well, the client has a problem, or they perceive that they have a problem, but they don't even have the clarity they need to know how to focus in and ask you, because they're not technical. They don't know how to ask you so that you can tune into exactly what the problem is. So you have to have a discussion to focus that clarity. So the worksheet that I've got with regard to clarity has got some specific questions that will help you narrow things down. In one case as the person presenting a solution, and on the other case as the person who is asking for help. It's normal for us to not have the words we need to ask for exactly what we want, and it's normal for us to not have the words we need to offer up the help that's available. Everybody listening to this could be a volunteer for some organization, right? But if you just generically say, I will do anything you need, that's not particularly useful to most organizations. The anything is sort of the opposite end of exactly what they need. When there's an issue, there's a crisis or whatever, there are specific skill sets that are needed. And the more specific you have something to offer, the more likely it is that you're actually going to be one of the volunteers who gets a job. Of course, there's all kinds of other areas in your life where clarity makes a lot of sense and serves a lot of good. But in your business, in your sales, in your negotiations, and even in running a volunteer or volunteering for a volunteer organization, the more clarity you have, the more likely you are to make the connections that really matter. So please download the form, fill it out, go through the exercises. If you have questions or you want to get on a Zoom call, just send me a note. I'll be happy to talk to you and make that connection. Please leave any comments you have down below. Give me a like and a thumbs up and all that happy stuff. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time. This is Karl Palachuk with Some Other Thoughts, wishing you the best of luck in everything you do.